And this is exactly the way that Cleveland wants to start the game. They want the ball in Joshua Cribbs' hands. He is a dynamic player. He's explosive, strong. He can break it anytime he's touching the ball.
Last week with his 6th career kickoff return for a touchdown, 98 yards against the Steelers. They kick away from him. It hits the pylon, and that will be an out-of-bounds kick, technically. The pylon officially is out of bounds. So right off the top.
Kick out of bounds. Kicking team. The ball will be placed at the 40-yard line. Green Bay ball, 1st and 10.
Mason Crosby airs off the top.
Cleveland ball, 1st and 10.
And Ron, right away you see Joshua Cribbs' impact on the game. Green Bay tries to kick away. They kick it out of bounds, although I'm not so sure that's not a win for them.
So the Browns will start off with great field position after the penalty. Our referee, Don Carey, filling us in. The ball will be spotted at the 40-yard line. You'll see some different formations from the Cleveland Browns. Right off the top here, they'll take Hank Fraley.
Reporting as an eligible receiver.
Number 66, he is a backup center. He is a tight end. He is eligible. Anderson handing off to Jamal Lewis. Browns have vowed to get the run game back going. And A.J. Hawk with the tackle, a pickup of 3. And a little skirmish right off the top. Kind of tells you a little bit of how these Browns are feeling. That's John St. Clair mixing it up with Johnny Jolly.
Apparently they're ready for some football too, Ron.
Browns 1-5, beat up badly last week by the Pittsburgh Steelers. The score didn't necessarily indicate it, but 4 turnovers, 27-14. Browns not able to move the football. Pickup of 3. Play action. Going deep. Intended for Massaquoi, and a penalty marker is down. Al Harris on the coverage.
It appears as if it's going to be offensive pass interference on Massaquoi, the rookie.
Don Carey busy early here. That one going against the offense.
Massaquoi going on the deep ball against the Pro Bowler, Al Harris. And most receivers, most referees will call that.
Offense. Number 11, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Particularly when you're a rookie going against a Pro Bowl cornerback.
Massaquoi basically replacing Braylon Edwards, who was traded to the New York Jets. For 2 defensive players and an undisclosed pick, and Massaquoi complaining. Massaquoi, the 2nd-round pick out of Georgia. That'll make it 2nd and 17. They go to the inside handoff. That's Lewis. Jenkins on the tackle. Derek Anderson, his 4th straight start. Brady Quinn started the season. They lost 3 straight. They replaced him. And Anderson able to get 1 win against the Buffalo Bills. A lot of dropped balls by the Browns receivers. Only 11 completions in the last 2 games total for Derek Anderson. And look at how they've struggled on 3rd down. Three-man rush by Green Bay. They drop everyone else. The flip play. That's Jerome Harrison. Harrison rounded up by Clay Matthews, along with Brandon Chiller. That'll bring up 4th down, a punting situation for the Browns. And of course, Browns fans will know that man there. That's the son of former Browns linebacker Clay Matthews Sr. I guess all you have to do is look at the long hair, and that's a tip, huh?
He looks a lot like his dad, and he plays a lot like his dad. He's really had an impact on this Green Bay team, and we'll see him throughout the game.
So Tramon Williams will replace Jordy Nelson. Nelson out with a knee injury. This will be Williams at the 13. Did he call for a fair catch? I don't think so. So he's touched down at about the 14-yard line. Mike Adams hustling down. Aaron Rodgers, in his 2nd year as a full-time starter, a 104 quarterback rating. That's good enough for 5th in the NFL. He's talked about earning the confidence and the leadership quality and the leadership role as a starting quarterback here with the Packers.
And he clearly has. He said it was all about, number one, his play. He wanted to play at a high level. Number two, he wanted to show his team toughness. Played through injuries, played all 16 last year. They love him.
Packers will start the rookie left tackle, T.J. Lang, subbing for Chad Clifton. They'll start off with the run. That's Ryan Grant. He's chopped down by Eric Wright. Cleveland Browns on defense, ranked last in the NFL, giving up 407 yards per game. They will run the 3-4 defense. It's anchored by the big man Shaun Rogers down at the nose tackle spot. They'll start the rookie inside. Kaluka Mayaba out of USC. The secondary has been picked on. They've given up a lot of yards after the catch. 2nd and 6. Second run, cutback, it's not there. Good job by the Browns defense. The linebacker, Eric Barton, maybe 3. And key inactives today for both teams. And we talked about the Cleveland Browns being ravaged by the flu virus that went through the facility. 12 guys at one point during this week sent home, not able to practice.
Yeah, and all those guys are back, but you see their 2 starting tight ends out. For Green Bay, on the other hand, right ahead, we said in the open, look for them to try to establish that running game. They did with success here on the first 2 plays. Puts himself in a manageable 3rd and short.
Brandon Jackson checks in, 3rd and 3. Jackson with the give. He's got to get 3. Going sideways. I'm not sure he got it. Hank Poteet coming up with the hit. Let's see how they mark it. Well, according to that spot, he got it. A generous spot there, so the Packers move the chains with the first down run by Brandon Jackson.
No, Ron, running the football in this league is so important. They have been lighting people up through the air. And Aaron Rodgers said we might as well just stick with it. But I got the feeling from Mike McCarthy, he really wants to come out and get Ryan Grant and this running game going for these Green Bay Packers.
3 wide receivers, 1 tight end. Grant looking cutback, runs a man over, and a nice pickup on first down by Grant. That'll be close to 9 yards.
And Ron, as we talked to Mike McCarthy, he said, listen, the run game problems are simply the fact that we haven't had enough attempts. And right away, he's trying to rectify that problem, feeding Ryan Grant early. Ryan Grant this year has had a history of getting stronger as the game goes on. I believe the same thing, Mike McCarthy. They need to get more attempts, establish a toughness. When you're struggling to protect your quarterback, what's the best way? You run the football.
2 tight ends in the game for Green Bay. 2nd down and 1. Play action. Looking across the field. There's the tight end. First down, Green Bay. Jermichael Finley. And Finley shaken up on the play. He's close to midfield, but he has the Packer first down. A pickup of 16 yards.
You look at this play. Number one, it starts with the protection. Again, when you run the football, you slow down that rush. Aaron Rodgers has all day. When he has that, he'll pick apart any defense. They went to their young rookie, Jermichael Finley. And Jermichael Finley is a guy that Aaron Rodgers says, hey, other than Charles Woodson, this is the best athlete on our football team. They believe he's a mismatch against anyone. Right there, they hit the guy, the second-year player, averaging 15 yards per catch.
5 catches last week against the Lions. That's Brandon Jackson. Finley, the 3rd-round pick last year out of Texas. A perfect complement to Donald Lee. But as you mentioned, talking about his athletic ability, that is a huge hit to have him limp off the field.
You know, and they are so high on this guy. When I talked to Mike McCarthy, he compared him to a young Tony Gonzalez that he had back in his Kansas City days when Mike McCarthy was with Kansas City. That's lofty comparisons whenever you're talking about a guy like Tony Gonzalez.
2nd and 4. Back to Grant. The holes are there early for Green Bay, pushing that left side, showing some confidence, working over the rookie tackle Lang. And there's the injury. You can see he took the hit right there on that left knee. And there appears to be another injury on the field. That's a Cleveland Brown. I believe that's Robert Smith, the free agent brought in from Tennessee this year. 10th-year man out of Michigan State. And the Browns can ill afford, as we said, ranked last in the NFL in total run defense, to have any injuries whatsoever.
Ron, you look at that. I know you're a former cornerback. You look at that last replay of Eric Wright on Jermichael Finley.
Yeah.
Those hits bother me. Everybody talks about the high hits. Those are the ones that obviously can hurt a guy like this.
2 players injured early here in Cleveland. We'll be back. And that's a look at Mike Furrey, who's listed as a wide receiver, but if you remember his days back in St. Louis as a Ram, he played wide receiver and then switched over to defensive back. Actually led the team in interceptions one year. The give back to Ryan Grant, getting Grant going early and often. A pickup of 5.
Ron, and they told us with Mike Furrey he would play both ways this week. They feel like they need his contributions on the field. Abram Elam comes as Mike Furrey runs off the field. We're going to see him on offense as well. He's a sure-handed, dependable guy, dependable on defense as well, and that's what Eric Mangini's looking for.
2nd down and 5. Packers keeping the ball on the ground and moving it inside the 40-yard line. Grant looking cutback. Barton is there. And we talked earlier about the Browns struggling with the flu. The flu bug swept through the Browns facility the last 2 weeks, hitting especially hard this week as you look at Eric Mangini. As many of 12 players and 1 coach stricken with the virus. 2 confirmed cases of influenza A, the H1N1 swine flu. Most of them coming back. But you wonder what kind of effect that will have with the limited practice and meetings. 3rd and 3. Give to Jackson. He's looking outside. Jackson lunges forward. That one's going to be about a half-yard short.
You talk about Shaun Rogers, you're talking about a big-time football player. Shaun Rogers right here, Aaron Rodgers said it. This guy's as good as anyone, and this guy has the ability just to manhandle people on the field. You see there, the old quickness. He says he misses that 4-3. They lined him in a 4-3 defense right there. He penetrates, gets in their backfield, makes a big 3rd down stop, forcing a big 4th down here early.
So the Packers going for it. They've run it 9 times, passed it only once. 4th and 1. You look at their conversions on the season. Rodgers, he went backwards fast. Let's see how they mark it. It all comes down to the spot. David Bowens pushed him back. Rodgers loses his lid and has some words for somebody. He didn't need much, but I'm not sure that he got much at all.
You know, looking at this spot from up here, it doesn't appear as if they got it. And again, you run right into the teeth of this defense with Shaun Rogers. Aaron Rodgers tries to go outside.
Well, right there, maybe he lunged forward, but Rodgers claiming penalty there late on Bowens. You see Adams there. Kenyon Coleman really responsible for causing the pileup initially. You see Robert Smith back in the game. He walked out injured. There's the pull of the chain. No. Denied. Turnover on downs. For the Browns. Back on offense. 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. That's the throw to Gaines. Gaines just picked up. Signed on Wednesday. Spent the first week of the season with Chicago. Cut October 17th. Played in only 1 game this season.
And he's playing because he has to. Steve Hayden, their starting tight end, Robert Royal, their next tight end, are both out with injuries. Royal had the flu as well. And Ron, one of the things Derek Anderson talked about, give me some easy throws early. He's 11 for 41 their last 2 weeks. Let's get the confidence of this team up.
2nd and 1 sneak. Anderson will take it himself. And he'll get the 1st down. Green Bay's defense, everyone knows they're running the new 3-4. Pickett will anchor inside at the nose tackle spot. Aaron Campman, yes, he is now a linebacker. So if you see him standing up, don't be surprised. He will put his hand down on 3rd and long situations and rush. Clay Matthews brings plenty of energy. The secondary, a little bit different style of play this year, not as much press. They're back off the ball reading. Handoff to Lewis. Not much there. A.J. Hawk coming down with the tackle.
Ron, it's been well chronicled that these Cleveland Browns have struggled offensively. And, you know, you talk about getting confidence early. 2nd and 1, you quarterback sneak to get that's a team that's hurting for first downs. You go for that first down. Maybe it does get them confidence.
A loss of 1 on the play. Packers with new defensive coordinator Dom Capers. Brings his 34, and they may throw a little zone blitz in there as well. You can see anything from the Packer defense this year. 2nd and 11. Deep in the center of the field, complete. Massaquoi, and Massaquoi with a late penalty has a big first down for the Browns. He's out to the Packer 37-yard line. A pickup of 20 yards.
Personal foul, face mask, defense from the 31, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Wildcat formation, first time today. Joshua Cribbs, and Cribbs tries the left side. Clay Matthews along with Hawk say, not right now.
And they promised it, and sure enough, we're seeing it. Eric Mangini told us you're going to see plenty of Wildcat. They ran it 13 times versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joshua Cribbs, their returner, he's a wide receiver. They want the ball in his hands. They're going to go to that Wildcat early as they just did and often throughout the game.
Look at Cribbs' numbers in Wildcat last week against Pittsburgh. 2nd down and 9. Anderson to throw. Quick one inside, and that's complete to Mike Furry. So Furry getting extra duty. We've seen him line up as a defensive back. Now he comes up with completion working against Charles Woodson.
We talked about the simple throws to get the confidence of this offense. We also talked about a guy like Mike Furry seeing more play time because of his versatility and because of his dependability. You throw him a nice, easy, catchable ball, and Mike Furry will catch it. 98 catches in 2006 with the Detroit Lions, 2nd in the NFL. This guy knows how to catch the football.
3rd down and 4. Anderson, plenty of time. Shoots it outside. That's the fullback, Vickers. And Vickers with a nice gain. Vickers works inside the 5-yard line. Finally brought down by Jenkins. Pickup of 10.
Derek Anderson starting off hot, 5 for 5, getting exactly what he asked for, those simple throws. He's executing them. Now, Ron, if there's something that this defense for the Green Bay Packers under Dom Capers has struggled with,
reporting as an eligible receiver.
They've struggled in red zone defense. 30th, second to last in the NFL.
66!
Hank Fraley, eligible as a tight end on the right side at the top of your screen. Jamal Lewis pounds down to the 2-yard line. Jamal Lewis, it's been a while since he's had a rushing touchdown. The team has only had 1 this year. Fumble! Ball is loose. No sign yet. Still waiting for a signal. So on 2nd and goal, Anderson fumbles a snap, and I believe the Browns get lucky and retain possession. I don't know how in the world they got that ball back. It looked as though 3 Packers were standing on top of it.
Yeah, you know, you're exactly right, Ron.
Please set the play clock to 25 seconds.
See Derek Anderson, and this kind of stuff, he's got a rookie center and Alex Mack, but that just can't happen in the NFL.
Look at that.
And look at, you're exactly right. A.J. Hawk's right there, but Derek Anderson, nice job by him. If you're going to make a mistake, go down there and get it. And I think it's Derek Anderson who came up with the fumble.
So they actually lost yards on the play. 3rd and goal, a loss of 2. Now he's trying to get Brian Robisky lined up right, and the fullback. 3rd and goal throw. That one should have been intercepted. Barnett stepped right in front of it, but couldn't hold on. The Bluebirds come out here on 4th down in Cleveland. Billy Cundiff will try from 22 yards out. The Browns have 2 kickers on the roster. Phil Dawson, he is battling a calf injury. Cundiff perfect on the season thus far. Should be a chip shot. Clean snap, and there you go. Boy, when you're talking about the Browns these days, you never speak too soon. bangs it off the upright, gets the good bounce, and it goes in for 3 points. Doesn't matter, counts for 3. Jackson is deep for Green Bay. Jackson stops his feet, then restarts, gets it out to the 28-yard line.
Ron, you see right away the Green Bay Packers coming out trying to establish the run. 10 runs to 1 pass. I think it's important, Ron. They did it effectively. As I said, to beat the elite teams, they're going to have to develop that running game. I believe they keep going with that run game. Obviously, Mike McCarthy doesn't as he comes out in empty backfield.
Spencer Havner taking the place of Jermichael Finley, whose return is questionable with the knee injury suffered in the first quarter. Just getting underway here in the second quarter. That ball intended for Jennings. Second and 10 throw. That's outside complete to Donald Lee. 49ers trying to hold on to that lead in the NFC West, tied with the Arizona Cardinals. Rodgers, a long throw outside complete to Donald Driver. The Packers franchise leader in catches, now with 603. And that's good enough for a Packers first down. Pushed out of bounds by Brodney Poole. A pickup of 13.
Ron, and Donald Driver, such a pro in his 11th year. His play has not gone down at all. He works very hard at it. We asked him yesterday, what's the secret to keeping that level of play so high? He said, no rest. You never take a break. And Donald Driver, a true pro, and to be the receiver leader for the Green Bay Packers, that's doing some work.
117 straight games with a catch for Driver. Wide open, Jennings almost got away, but he walked out of the offense and I won't let you down. And he has not let him down. Surely headed for the Packer Hall of Fame and maybe the NFL Hall of Fame. That's Ryan Grant. He'll come up about a yard or two shy of the first down, hit by Adams.
And you tell that story about Ron Wolf and Donald Driver as a 7th-round pick out of Alcorn State. He told Ron Wolf, he said, if I never make it to Canton, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I'm okay as long as I'm in that Packer Hall of Fame. And this guy is the ultimate Packer, ahead of the likes of Sterling Sharp and Don Hudson. I mean, this guy has been doing some great work in this league. He's a class act and a leader for this team.
3rd and 1. Bootleg. Rodgers looking, throws wide open. Havner. And Havner's going down the sideline looking for end zone. Does he have it? Yes, touchdown Packers. 45 yards for the touchdown. Spencer Havner, subbing for the injured Jermichael Finley, puts an early 6 up for the Packers.
Eric Mangini and all the Cleveland Browns talked about Aaron Rodgers. His mobility is his most underrated asset. He extends the play. He finds Spencer Havner, the linebacker slash tight end, who, as you said, is in for Jermichael Finley, and Spencer Havner making the most of his opportunities with a great catch and run.
Havner really a project. Spent the last few years on the Packers practice squad. He can play tight end. He can play linebacker. Now showing his skills as a tight end. In his first career touchdown. Crosby tacks on the extra point. Crosby pounds it down inside, 2 yards deep of the end zone. Cribbs hit at the 25, keeps his feet moving. Fraley at tight end, 1st and 10 for the Browns. Play clock running low. Jam-ups on the outside, no place to throw the football. Excellent job by the Packers corners as we go back to the hit on the kickoff.
You look at, here comes one blocker. Here comes 2 blockers. You take care of both those guys and you go tackle the best kick returner in the NFL. Ron, you go back to that last play. Derek Anderson told us when we sat with them, one of the important things was that their receivers can win these one-on-one matchups. The Packers stacked the line of scrimmage with 8 guys. They had to go to the pass. They checked to it. The receivers didn't win the one-on-one matchups. Advantage Packers.
2nd and 10. Anderson throws, it's complete. That's to the tight end, Estandia. A pickup of 5. Looked like Hawk was all over it.
Greg Estandia starting at tight end today. Steve Hayden and Robert Royal, the 2 starters, out for Cleveland. Estandia is a guy who, don't worry, Cleveland fans, he's played some football. Started 3 games in his career, but 29 games. Was a good role player for a Jacksonville team. In fact, when we did the Jacksonville game last week, they talked about how much they're missing Greg Estandia.
3rd down and 5. 6 completions to 6 different receivers for the Browns, but down by 4 here in the 2nd quarter. Going deep down the sidelines, and that ball is underthrown. So they can talk all they want to about the drop passes, but clearly that ball nowhere near where it needs to be, intended for Massaquoi with Harris on the coverage.
A big story throughout this season and the transition to the 3-4 has been Aaron Kapman. You see Aaron Kapman pressuring Derek Anderson. Last week they put him down in that familiar 3 or 4 point stance, his hand in the dirt. He talks about when he's in that 4 point, he's spring loaded. It's like a coil that's spring loaded. He shoots out of his stance, creates pressure. That's what Aaron Kapman does, making a nice transition to the 3-4 defense, particularly in the last couple of weeks.
Zastudil with a 44-yard average. His markers go down, punts it away to Tramon Williams. Williams looking to make a cut, keeps going lateral, and doesn't pick up much. Costanzo down with the tackle. Let's check the marker.
Typically, when you have that many penalties, it has to do something with 12 guys on the field. Or an illegal substitution of some sort.
12 men. Defense. 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
John, you're right. 12 men on the field, and the big key there, that results in a 1st down. The Browns will regain possession.
And Ron, we talked in the open how Mike McCarthy had enough with the penalties. Well, look at it, 8.6 per game. He talked about the undisciplined ones. He'll live with the defensive PI, the way they play man-to-man, bump and run. But the undisciplined ones, they had to get rid of. There is no excuse for having 12 people on the field on special teams. It's inexcusable. Mike McCarthy says they've done everything. Ultimately, the players have to take responsibility. That will lose you football games, particularly when you're playing a great football team, and that just can't happen.
That classified as a defensive penalty, but 43 offensive penalties coming into today's game, with the NFL average being 34. 6 penalties in the 1st half last week against Detroit. Probably the one sour factor
Number 66
in that win.
As an eligible receiver.
So now you put your defense back on the field. 1st and 10, new set of downs for the Browns. Packers showing a little bare front. 8 men up, man-to-man coverage on the outside, 1 safety back deep.
The one-on-ones are there.
They get run. Perfect defense for the call. Nice job, Don Capers. A.J. Hawk is there first.
Mike McCarthy, we talked about the penalties. He was tired of them, but he called the undisciplined ones. I went through and charted 31 as being undisciplined. Those are false starts, illegal formations, 12 men on the field. Only 14 of those aggressive ones that he says he'll live with. They will not be a team to contend with like I think they can be unless they clean that up. They all know it, but they got to, at some point, it's got to show up on the field.
No gain on the play. Movement early. Vickers are going backwards.
False start. Offense, number 47. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
And this is the kind of stuff that just drives Eric Mangini crazy and Browns fans crazy. Mangini in his 1st year as head coach. Started 3-3 last year with the Jets as head coach, but 1-5 here. And you look on the roster, John, and boy, you see an awful lot of New York Jets. Brought in about 9 players, most of them on the defensive side. Meanwhile, the Jets are up there riding high. 2nd and 15 going deep. That one doesn't have a chance. Anderson trying to fit it in again to Mohamed Massaquoi. At one point, boy, you want to leave Al Harris alone. I don't think it's going to be there.
Yeah, you know, and Dom Capers is challenging them to do exactly that. He has confidence in his corners, Al Harris and Charles Woodson. He's stacking the box. with Atari Bigby. Brandon Chillers even played some strong safety. And he's saying, beat us outside. I'm comfortable with my guys out there. And thus far, the Cleveland Browns have been able, they all talked about it. Eric Mangini said, we've got to be able to beat that man-to-man coverage. Thus far, the Cleveland Browns have not been able to do that.
There's a look at Dom Capers, 24th season as a coach in the NFL. The handoff inside, that's Harrison. Two birds everywhere. That one doesn't have a chance. That'll bring up 4th down.
Ron, I talked in the open about the Wildcat, about as a receiver, as a running back. We've seen Josh Cribbs, I think, one time on the Wildcat on offense. You better get him on the field. That's my opinion. You're struggling as an offense. You're going up against a good defense. Do something else. They had success last week, as we said, with the Wildcat and Joshua Cribbs. More importantly, get the ball in his hands.
Astudillo will punt away to Williams. Williams with the wild-looking yellow shoes. Fits the uniform. He'll take it inside the 10. Looking to make a cut. A lot of dancing. Gets a couple blocks. Still going. Eight men in the box for Cleveland. Grant. And Grant almost broke it. Bowens on the tackle. A pickup of 6.
Ron, you look at these Cleveland Browns on offense. You see Josh Cribbs over here on the sidelines. We talked about it. They talked about it. You got to put the ball in your best player's hands. Well, he's going to get his returns. They're kicking to him. One Wildcat touch thus far, none in their base offense. That's unacceptable in my mind. You've got to get the ball to Joshua Cribbs. They have failed to do so thus far. Until they do so, I don't think we'll have success offensively.
2nd down and 4. Grant trying to stretch it outside, turn the corner. A late marker goes down. Looks as though he may have had the 1st down, but let's check the marker. Right now, we'll wait for the call.
Holding. Offense, number 86, 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
I guess it's just football no matter what the time change is. 2nd and 14 after the penalty. No place to throw the ball. Finally, inside, it's bobbled, but it's complete to Donald Lee, and Donald Lee gets the penalty yardage back and a 1st down. Eric Barton with the tackle, but not before 19 big ones.
Last week, the Cleveland Browns faced Ben Roethlisberger, and they struggled to get pressure on him. When they did, he slid in the pocket. Well, there's Aaron Rodgers. He slides in the pocket, buys time, and then delivers a strike to Donald Lee. But again, Ron, we're seeing this pattern with this Green Bay offense. Nice play penalty. We saw the holding penalty that backed them up. They were able to overcome it. They've got to get rid of those penalties.
Very efficient numbers, as you see there already for Rodgers. Quick throw, wide open. That's Donald Driver. Driver, one man to beat, coming up behind him. And he's going to beat it. Touchdown, Packers, 71 yards. The longest pass play of the year for Driver as he gets his 3rd touchdown of the season.
We talked in the open for these Cleveland Browns. They needed to eliminate the big plays, most specifically the yards after the catch. Cleveland brings a blitz. Aaron Rodgers hits his hot man in Donald Driver, and Donald Driver does the rest with another missed tackle. It was Brodney Poole. He was out with the flu. But at some point, fellas, you got to start tackling. You know, that's what this game is all about. And that's why a team's 1-5 and struggling. They aren't doing the little things, and the Packers will make you pay when you do not tackle. That's what they're known for. They get the ball in their athletes' hands, and they make great things happen. And Mr. Packer, Donald Driver, tells Johnny Jolly, that's how I do it. And great execution by the Green Bay Packers.
The longest pass play of the season for a touchdown for the Green Bay Packers. The extra point is good, and they continue on the touchdown in 3 plays, 86 yards on the touchdown for Green Bay, striking quick. And the Browns still in trouble offensively. There's a throwaway. Cullen Jenkins with the pressure. And we're talking about that Packer offense coming into today's game. 5.9 plays per scoring drive.
Doesn't take them long, you know, and part of that equation is the turnovers. This defense creates a lot of turnovers under Dom Capers. 13 takeaways, tied for 4th in the NFL. Excuse me, 3rd in the NFL, and they turn them into points. This is a quick strike team in these Green Bay Packers.
They're even better today, averaging 4.5 plays before they score. There's the handoff to Harrison. Oh, and maybe a big game coming up next week for Green Bay, and there was some discussion as to whether or not the Packers would look ahead past Cleveland, obviously struggling to that game. Of course, they've got the Minnesota Vikings at home next week in what arguably is the biggest game of the year. 3rd down and 8. Going again. Why do they keep doing it? But now a late flag comes out. Massaquoi going up against Harris. They might get Harris for this one.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 31. 5-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
And Ron, you know, not that this is something that Mike McCarthy likes, but these are penalties that he'll live with. They're aggressive. They're going to play up in receivers' face. Illegal contacts are going to happen.
Yeah.
And that one's iffy. But they got to throw the rookie a bone every now and then.
Yeah, well, you can call it illegal contact.
Number 66 is reporting as an eligible receiver.
You can call it illegal contact, but bottom line is Massaquoi just got D'd up.
Yeah. The important thing is there's no separation there. So you talk about winning those one-on-ones. It's not happening as of yet for the Cleveland Browns.
So with the penalty, they get the ball back. 1st and 10, play action. No place for Anderson. Throws late, intended for Brian Robisky. Another rookie, 2nd-round pick out of Ohio State. That's incomplete. Ryan Pickett was chasing him down.
Big Ryan Pickett. They try to go with the play action. Ryan Pickett's can explode, beat the center, come on through there, chase Derek Anderson out of the pocket. This defensive line for the Green Bay Packers under Dom Capers have been outstanding. You see big Ryan Pickett there. You've got Cullen Jenkins, Johnny Jolly. They've got a rookie in B.J. Raji that they're just waiting to bust out. These guys are playing at a high level.
2nd down and 10. They're going Fraley at the tight end. Run to Fraley's side. Literally tackled in the backfield there. Clay Matthews. And Matthews able to hold Lewis to maybe 1 or 2 as he falls forward.
You look at Derek Anderson, who came out hot, 5 of 6 for 55 yards. The Packers since then, now he's 1 of 6 since then, have adjusted. And you know what they've done? They've stacked the box and challenged them, beat us with the pass. And right now, their receivers aren't winning. That's why I keep saying you've got to do something unconventional. Go to that Wildcat that you broke out last week. And let's see if that works against this defense.
3rd and 9. Look at the Packer linebackers moving around, screwing up, trying to screw up the protection scheme. There's an interception. Woodson. His 4th of the season. He's already taken 1 back for a touchdown. And it's a turnover. Another turnover for the Packers. They came into today's game with 10 interceptions. Make that 11. +8 in the giveaway takeaway ratio. All the good teams, John, are usually in the plus category, in that category.
And the Packers, I categorize them as a good team. They're +8 this year on the turnovers. And a big reason why is guys like Charles Woodson and Al Harris. These guys are big-time players. One of the things, Ron, that they were looking forward to in Dom Capers' new defense is the opportunity to make some more interceptions. They don't always have their back turned in this. They play more zone coverages. They can see the football, and these guys are making their coach Dom Capers very proud as they continue to play at a high level.
40 career interceptions for Woodson. Play action, going deep. Rodgers in trouble, gets out, and gets a couple on his own.
Aaron Rodgers having fun, saying he just ran away from a young rookie linebacker. And, you know, that's one thing that is very underrated about Aaron Rodgers' game. Everybody sees the strong arm, but this guy is a terrific athlete. He's a very mobile quarterback. They'll design movement for him, and then he can just react to what happens. You got a little pressure, you go out and you pick up a couple yards by just having better speed than your opponent.
Second down and 7. Hand it off to Grant. Grant looking for end zone, and Grant gets it down to the 3. So the Yankees trying to avoid elimination. Angels, trying to avoid elimination. First and goal. Throw inside, incomplete. Intended for Jennings. And Eric Wright is there with the coverage.
Prior to that play, the incompletion, we saw a nice run by Ryan Grant. If you're looking for things that Green Bay has struggled with, they're 25th in red zone offense, efficiency in the red zone. One of the reasons I believe they haven't been able to, when you're in the red zone, you better be able to impose your will on that team and run the football. We'll see right now if Mike McCarthy goes back to Ryan Grant.
Second and goal. He does go back to Grant. Grant trying to get in, got as close as to 2, but couldn't push it through. Bowens along with Wembley on the tackle.
A great shot of Aaron Rodgers before that last play saying, I want the play, give me the play, give me the play. Great quarterbacks, particularly in this West Coast offense, they want to create the tempo. Mike McCarthy told us coming in, Eric Mangini's going to try to slow down the tempo. I want to speed it up, and that's what Aaron Rodgers is saying. Give me the ball. Let's get this thing going.
Third and goal. Grant out of the backfield. The throw, sail, the long sail route, it's caught, touchdown Driver. He beat Brandon McDonald. A marker goes down. We'll check the flag. If it counts, that'll be the second touchdown today for Driver.
Pass interference. Defense, number 22. Foul was in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. First and goal.
Okay, so they wipe out the touchdown. Foul in the end zone. Ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. And the ball actually ruled incomplete by the side judge. Yeah. You can see it hit the ground right there.
As for the penalty, you can put that hand on him. You can't tug him, and I think Brandon McDonald got a little tug there. I would too against Fallon Driver.
First and goal run. They go back to Grant. Grant down to the inch line.
This is important, I believe, for the Green Bay Packers. You want to be an elite team. You don't have to run the ball all the time, but you better be able to run it when you want to and when you have to. And right here, you're on the 1-yard line. You've got 4 downs at it. You better be able to punch that thing in.
They switch it up, hand it to the fullback. That's Kuhn, and Kuhn doesn't get in. Look at Rob Ryan. Jennings split out left. 2 tight ends in the game. Grant looking downhill. Grant loses the ball. They signal touchdown. The signal is touchdown Green Bay. So for Grant, that's the 3rd touchdown of the year. Here's another look. Let's see, did he lose it before he put it in? Right there, to me, he's over.
It's a touchdown. I think a smart call by Mike McCarthy. You're struggling to get it right up the middle. Your starting center's out, Jason Spitz. You aren't getting that push. You got Sean Rogers in the middle, so go run to the stretch play. Run on to the outside behind TJ Lang, your rookie left tackle, and let Ryan Grant use his best asset, which is a strong pair of legs, and pound that ball in. Nice second effort by Ryan Grant, and I think important for this Green Bay team. Mike McCarthy saying, you know what, we could probably throw it in here, but let's send a message, big picture, that we can run the football in when we need to.
Crosby comes on and makes it 21 unanswered points. He has 8 total kick returns. That includes kickoff returns and punts. Here's a breakout. He's going to have to beat the kicker. Puts a stiff arm on him. And Crosby actually helped save the touchdown. 41 yards on the return. Finally pushed out by Crosby along with Derek Martin. But good field position, something they desperately needed as well as a big return.
You know, another thing that great returners do is sometimes they don't follow the script. He talked about north and south. This time he goes east and west. He can do it all. But the big thing that this guy does, he affects field position. He talked about a kick return to him as an offensive play. He just got 2 first downs for his team as he sees it with that yardage right there. Let's see if they can. He's not even on the field on offense. So.
No, talking to Brad Seaton, the special teams coach. The 21 points by Green Bay, all in the second quarter. .120 and counting. Green, they try the same play. Better luck this time across midfield is Jerome Harrison. Brought down by Nick Collins.
Nice call there. You've got the rush of the Packers. You got Aaron Campman with his hand down. You know they're coming. So what do? You invite the rush. You throw a little screen. Nice pickup by the Browns.
Cleveland with 2 timeouts. The rush, the quick turn throw. That's complete to Estandia. And Estandia has the Browns first down. Tackled by Bigby. And a timeout called by Cleveland. Play clock low. 1 second to get it off. That one thrown up. Intended for Robisky, and actually Robisky had gotten behind the coverage and was wide open. But Anderson throws it out of bounds.
Yeah, you know, and Anderson threw it out of bounds because of great pressure by Charles Woodson. We just saw him make an interception. You see Charles Woodson coming off the slot, defeats the running back with a little spin move. That's why he won the Heisman Trophy. The guy's special. Dom Capers compared him to another Woodson, Rod Woodson, that he had back in Pittsburgh, said a rare size and speed combo. And he told me, John, this guy's a special player. He can play corner, he can play safety. He uses them in a multiple of ways.
Second down, more pressure, sack. Cullen Jenkins is the first one there. Campbell is there next. I think maybe they were fighting over the sack credit. Third and long. Green Bay dropped back in a prevent look. This ball going up here, the last play. And it's up. And it's out of bounds, knocked away nicely by the Packers secondary.
You know, and the story for Green Bay thus far, protect your star quarterback. We said it in the open. They've done it, and they've done it well. And you see what can happen when they do that.
Brandon Jackson takes it for Green Bay inside the 5. Stops, goes backwards, hit at the 15-yard line.
And for the Green Bay Packers, you know, they've Aaron Rodgers, as you see him under the center, he's been awesome, Ron. And again, you protect this guy. He's a top 5 quarterback in my mind.
And they go back to the ground game. That's how they started off, running the ball 9 times to 1 pass. They got an early dose of Ryan Grant early. They went down the field. That's Grant there for a couple, and more than a couple. Call it 7.
Great thing about Aaron Rodgers, Ron, that I've seen in this first half. You know, Donald Driver told us about it. Aaron talked about it. His leadership. You can really see him taking control of this team. This is his team now. As Donald Driver said, as far as he goes, we go. And right now, Aaron Rodgers is looking on fire.
2nd and 3. They bring the corner blitz. Rogers diagnoses it, throws it outside. It's complete. Penalty marker on the play, a personal foul, 15 big ones. Helps the Packers out. Ball now spotted at the 46-yard line.
And Aaron Rodgers, Ron, he's doing a great job getting the ball in his playmakers' hands. Talk about playmakers for the Browns, Josh Cribbs, Donald Driver, and Greg Jennings. And now they're starting to get Ryan Grant involved in this run game. Continue to think that they want to play with the big boys. Ryan Grant needs to get going.
A late marker comes in. Grant is tripped up. You see the confusion by the Browns. David Bowens runs in on the field late. Browns trying to play with 10 men on the field. Here's Don Carey.
Defense, number 92, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And that's against Shaun Rogers. And John, they just have to go back to what we talked about. And I'll do that after this replay.
See big Shaun Rogers in the middle. As I said, he can manhandle people, and he has a get-off that's like no other in this league. He does all that there, but then he does a little trippage. He sticks that foot out. And Shaun Rogers, I tell you, gaining a lot of respect for him because he's still playing at a high level. And he said the one thing, he's unfortunately had a lot of practice at losing in this league, having played for Detroit, and understands that you've got to represent yourself well. Even if your team's struggling, you better represent yourself well. And he's doing that despite the penalty.
Play action to Grant. Looking for comebacks, not there. Rogers tries to run with it, but they bring him down. Robert Smith coming up with the tackle. It's been a hectic season already for Eric Mangini and the Browns. Started off with a 4-game losing streak. They changed quarterbacks, went from Brady Quinn to Derek Anderson, and then the Braylon Edwards trade. Traded a couple of weeks ago. A lot of people couldn't understand it because he was their one and only star receiver. Then this week, the 12 serious cases of the flu, 2 of them very serious, diagnosed as swine flu. The car accident with Eric Wright. Talk about being distracted. 2nd and 9, completion. Very close to the first down. That's Greg Jennings.
Ron, you talk about Eric Mangini and the Braylon Edwards situation. You know, I think in this league, one of the jobs of a head coach is to deal with multiple personalities. And I look at, you know, a guy that Eric Mangini coached with in New England and Josh McDaniels out in Denver. There was a problem very similar with Brandon Marshall. Now, Braylon didn't have the off-field incidents that Brandon had.
Right.
But instead of giving Brandon his wish, he suspended him. He made him sit on the bench and said, I'm not going to give you what you want. You're going to play for me, and you're going to play well. And look at Brandon Marshall right now. Instead, Braylon Edwards in New York playing well, and Cleveland Browns can't win one-on-one matchups on the outside.
Grant breaks a tackle in the full house backfield and almost broke it for 6. Rodney Poole comes down and maybe saves the touchdown. A missed tackle there by Wembley, a pickup of 9.
Ryan Grant hurting a little, and they can't afford to lose him. They did go back and sign an old Packer in Amon Green this week.
Yes, they did.
An outstanding player.
Yeah, Green is not active today. He's on the sideline. As you see, Grant showing the frustration. In subs Brandon Jackson, a 2nd-round pick out of Nebraska. Packers like Nebraska running backs. Now with 2 on the active roster. The rollout, plenty of time for Rogers. Throws to the end zone. Boy, and that was a hot one. And that's through the hands of Donald Driver. Brendan McDonald on the coverage. Shaun Rogers getting into it with a couple of the Packer players after the play.
Look at the previous play where Ryan Grant was injured. And it's going to come at the finish of this run.
Good
lifted up
tackle there. Yeah,
he got up. Quad bruise.
Yeah. Say that Grant actually welcomed the addition of Amon Green in. Looking up the sidelines, the comeback route, and just a bit early for Jennings. Jennings selling the go route, then tried to put his foot in the ground and come back. And Rogers was a little early with the ball. McDonald on the coverage.
Aaron Rodgers, as great quarterbacks do, he wants every throw, and he wants that one back. He tried to shoulder Greg Jennings and just underthrew it a little bit. You know, we've talked so much about Donald Driver, but Greg Jennings is the guy that Eric Mangini and the Cleveland Browns were really had their eye on as being their go-to guy.
So Havener now 41. He's the move guy in for Finley. Jackson is in also, subbing for Grant. They bring pressure. Havener, he's already got one touchdown today. A late marker goes down as Havener has the first down.
Like a little offensive pass interference on Donald Lee.
Havener, the first-year man out of
Pass
UCLA.
interference. Offense, number 86. 10-yard penalty, third down.
That's going against Donald Lee.
See Donald Lee right here. Spencer Havener is going to come underneath. But Donald Lee says the fastest point to a line is a straight point. He runs right through Mike Adams there, and Aaron Rodgers isn't happy.
Well, and the biggest thing now after the penalty there on Lee, that not only erases the first down, it erases the field goal opportunity. They're in field goal range, looking good. Worst comes to worst. So we go to a 3rd and long, and the way Green Bay is playing today on offense, they might welcome 3rd and long situations. No one covering outside. Browns late to get lined up. Ball incomplete, bounced around. So Lee with 2 back-to-back negative plays, the penalty, and now he gets one right in his chest and can't hold on. It'll bring up 4th down for Green Bay.
You're absolutely right, Ron, and Aaron Rodgers' thinking was right in line with yours. Let's get back in that field goal range. He delivers a strike to Donald Lee, and I thought it was the Browns that were having trouble with drops. You better catch those balls. And Aaron Rodgers isn't happy. You know, I bet he's calm here. I bet he's going to let Donald Lee know we've got to catch those balls.
Browns moving around. This is a 55-yarder. It drifts to the left, but Cleveland, at first it looked like they were going to put Cribbs back deep. They'll take over at the 45-yard line. They'll hand it off. That's Lewis. Barnett there for the tackle. Lewis with back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons, but has come in with very little. And the Browns have made a point to say publicly that we've got to get this guy going. 3.5 yards a crack, that's not good enough for a guy like Lewis. 2nd and 5, Boyd's 1. Heads toward the first down marker. Chiller says not so fast. Looks as though he'll be about 2 yards shy. 3rd and 2, play action. Checks it down late, fumble. Cribbs had it, it's knocked away. Hit by Woodson, recovery by Chiller. And the only thing the Browns would have to argue at this point, did he have possession long enough? I'm sure that's what Mangini is checking on.
See Josh Cribbs catch the football, get up, and Charles Woodson.
Boy, I don't know that it ever stopped moving in his arms.
Yeah.
That would be the key.
You're right.
I don't know that he ever puts it away and then begins to make a football move.
The ruling on the field was a completed pass, followed by a fumble. Green Bay's ball, 1st and 10. The receiver completed the pass with 2 feet on the ground. Turned upfield, fumbled the ball. Result of the play, Green Bay ball, 1st and 10. Cleveland is charged with their first team timeout.
All right, so the play stands, challenge lost, timeout lost, and you see the challenge record this season for Cleveland is just spectacular.
Eric Mangini's not happy, and he shouldn't be. His team's not executing. They're not playing. He knows this is going to be a process. There's going to be bumps in the road. Right now, frankly, they don't have the talent to compete. But you still have to execute. This is the NFL, and you need to execute better, and Eric Mangini knows that.
Well, the Packers go to a 2 tight end set. That usually means it's time to run the ball, take some time off the clock. Grant back in, gets out of the way of the official, and tries to run a man over. A nice pickup on first down. Tried to roll over Abram Elam. Elam holds on long enough for his friends to come up, but it's a 15-yard gain by Ryan Grant.
Ron, it appears as if the ankle's okay, because Ryan Grant is running hard. And, everyone wonders where that guy that was in that late 2007 playoff run that was breaking tackles. And as I said, last week versus Detroit, late in that game, that runner right there that's breaking tackles on good football players came out, and that's a welcome sign for these Green Bay Packers.
That's the run when the Packers went to the NFC Championship, had the championship game at home against the Giants, lost it. But a lot of magic in the air. They go back to the run. That's Ryan Grant.
Talk about Ryan Grant. This is a guy that historically gets stronger as the game goes on. You look here at the fourth quarter, averaging 5 yards a carry. Today, he started off hot, dipped a little in the second quarter. Third quarter, he's gotten it going, over 5 yards per carry. And again, I really believe in my heart to compete with it. You've got a stud quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. You have great receivers, but you better be able to run the football. And I think Mike McCarthy knows that and is using today as an opportunity to get that established.
Great cut there. You see him put his foot in the ground on the 2nd and 5. Good vision, sees the hole, runs through the tacklers, makes the first down. Maiava comes up with the tackle. Mike McCarthy talked about competitive maturation and a direct response to the question of, you come into this game, you worry about your team having a letdown because you've got the Minnesota Vikings in a huge game next week. He said, no, that's what I mean by competitive maturation. We've got to play hard 100% like we're playing the Vikings against every opponent each week.
I think in that he's talking about a level of consistency. They've showed this year that they can play with anyone, that they can be as explosive as anyone, but you need to do it week in and week out. I talked to Dom Capers on the field before. He said, John, we've done a lot of great things defensively. You go back to the preseason, created 13 turnovers in 3 games. Week 1, we come out hot versus Chicago. Then we lay an egg against Cincinnati. They want the consistent effort. And this is a young football team. Again, coming into this season, the youngest football team in the league. I think it's skewed a little bit since the season has started. A young football team, but they don't want to hear any excuses. They want to compete this year.
2nd down and 8, plenty of time. Wide open, complete. And that's a Packer first down. Donald Lee. So Donald Lee, redeeming himself after dropping a ball and having the penalty the series before, comes up with a 16-yarder and a first.
That's Donald Lee right there. Go for a little corner route.
It gets tripped up there a little.
And you know what I like seeing is Aaron Rodgers, he drops it on a big 3rd down earlier. You go right back to him. And you say, you know what, buddy, I got confidence in you. You throw it to him, and Donald Lee makes good upon Aaron Rodgers' confidence in him.
With Grant back in, they go back to the run game, and Grant is inside the 5-yard line. Finally stopped by Kenyon Coleman. 21-3 Packers. Packers threatening to score here with 5:22 and counting. A quick look at the Packers' offensive leaders.
Look at Aaron Rodgers, extremely efficient, 10 for 15, 205 yards. Ryan Grant approaching the 100-yard mark, and Donald Driver, as we said, Mr. Packer having a huge day. The Packers are firing on all cylinders. Most importantly, they've kept Aaron Rodgers upright. They lead the league with 25 sacks thus far, none today.
Play action, the throw to Johnson. That's Quinn Johnson, the 5th-round pick out of LSU. He's been bothered by a bad ankle, but comes up with the reception there. Fortunately, no yards on the play. Just got back to the line of scrimmage. Bowens with the tackle.
Ron, you just look at the body mannerisms of this Cleveland defense, and there's no juice out there. There's no energy. And, you know, you've got to have that. This is the NFL. It's your job. You're paid to do it. You need to have some energy and play hard for 60 minutes regardless of the score.
Bad snap, gathered up the throw, a catch, and a hit, a big hit there by the linebacker Eric Barton on Ryan Grant. It looked as though Grant might have a chance to get his feet in the ground, make a move, but Barton is all over him.
See the bad snap. Aaron Rodgers rings it in and throws a strike. And Eric Barton, you know, he says, you want juice? I'll give you juice. He puts a nice hit on Ryan Grant right there, keeping him out of the end zone. Nice play by Eric Barton.
So after the turnover, the long drive by the Packers stalls. The first attempt today. Crosby, he missed, actually his second attempt, he missed on the long 55-yarder. And right now, Minnesota down by 3 to the Pittsburgh Steelers as they just about wrap up the third quarter. Nice kick there by Crosby.
I believe you can do both. Get to the quarterback and stay on sides. The ball's right there in front of you. Watch the ball. It's pretty simple.
That one intended for Massaquoi. Harris on the cover. They haven't had luck working against Harris all day long.
Now, under my definition, thus far, we've got too many penalties, first off, and a 50-50 split. And like I said, none of them are good. The aggressive one, Mike McCarthy's okay with. It's these that you've got to cut out if you're going to compete with the Minnesotas of the world.
You don't want to say good penalty. What you mean is a penalty where the coach just doesn't scream quite as much. There's a nice cutback in what looks like the longest run of the day for Lewis. And it is. Finally brought down by Hawk, a pickup of 11 yards.
And what Mike McCarthy wants to be very careful, he said in talking to his team, he doesn't want to ever take away the aggressiveness of his football team. And, you know, we showed bump and run all day of Al Harris and Charles Woodson. Well, there's going to be some illegal context, as we saw earlier. But again, these undisciplined penalties, they will bite you. Not against the Cleveland Browns, but against the Minnesota Vikings next week, they'll bite you.
Back again to Lewis. And the Packers stop it up. Barnett is there first. In comes Campman along with a couple others.
Look at Aaron Campman right there. This is a guy who's played at a high level this year despite the transition to 3-4. The numbers haven't been there in terms of the sacks. He does have 2 sacks, but he's playing. I talked to Kevin Green, who played the same position for Dom Capers and now is the outside linebacker coach. And he says, John, Aaron Campman is a pro's pro. The guy's playing at a high level. Don't listen to all the BS. I said, I understand. I watch him on film. This guy's a big-time football player. Hand up, hand down, whatever. He's a big-time football player.
Blitz by Green Bay. The quick throw intended maybe for Cribbs. And we've heard more boos and cheers today for the Cleveland Browns. But there you go, Dom Capers mixing that bag up, showing some different things that time, bringing the safety down for the blitz.
Yeah, you know, but the simple snap in the NFL, that's something that should be a given. And that's 2 center quarterback exchanges thus far today that have been misses. And right there, they had a little screen that we've been calling for all day to Josh Cribbs. You get it to him quickly, he can do something with it. You don't give him a chance, you got a blown opportunity.
3rd and 10. Here comes the closing pocket. No place to go. A late flag all the way from the back judge. He must have threw that ball about 40 yards. Brady Popenga will get called against Greg Estandia.
Holding. Defense, number 51. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Brady Popenga on coverage on Greg Estandia. They call the hold. Oof. Got the little hook on the hip.
A little hook there, yeah.
And Brady Popenga was supplanted in the starting lineup by young Clay Matthews right here, who's really brought an energy and an ability to this defense that is a difference maker in my mind.
Going deep. He's got a step. Massaquoi had a step on Harris, but it's overthrown. The safety was coming over fast, Collins, but they couldn't fit it in.
We've talked about the one-on-one matchups all day. The young rookies look at, he is learning. He goes up against Al Harris, shakes him at the line of scrimmage, and Derek Anderson right there, you need to deliver a strike. Your guys got a little separation for the first time all day. Massaquoi, an explosive player, put the ball on him. Derek Anderson, let's not forget, back in 2007, a Pro Bowl player, had 29 touchdowns.
Right, you saw him over there at the Pro Bowl when you were there. Up in the box, he drops off. Swing pass. It's complete. It's still going. There goes Jerome Harrison. Did he step out? Yes, he did. Then hit late, and there goes the roughing penalty. And Harrison, he goes after Bigby. Well, when you're down 24-3, I think maybe the best thing to do is just get back in the huddle.
Yeah, you know, and they really can't buy a break. The the side judge behind the play thinks he's inbounds, but the far judge, you know, from 30 yards away calls it as stepping out of bounds.
The runner was out of bounds. After the runner was out of bounds, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit, defense number 20, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Yeah, now there you go. There's your undisciplined penalty, right, Don?
Yeah, there's Jerome Harrison, first of all. Appears to be a good call. Some tiptoes. But now here's the hit.
You don't like it, huh?
I think that's no penalty. Come on. I think it's a Academy Award for Harrison, maybe. A little dive there. But I am an old safety, so I tend to favor those guys.
We're not biased up here or anything.
But you see Mike McCarthy here. He's had enough. And he needs to be upset with his team because it's not translating. They've emphasized it. It was a problem last year. They've emphasized it over and over. It's not translated on the field.
Back to Lewis. A miss in the backfield. Lewis is out of the gate. A nasty stiff arm there. Puts it on Charles Woodson. And he's inside the 20-yard line. 16 yards on the run by Lewis.
You look at the play, Clay Matthews right here is going to go on what we call a spill. He's going to bounce the ball. Well, if he bounces it, Nick Barnett better come outside. Or it's A.J. Hawk on Joe Thomas. But his job, Clay Matthews, is to get underneath, which he executes. Nick Barnett goes for the spill as well. And I think it's A.J. Hawk, actually, who has to scrape there and make that play. Whenever you see someone spilling, someone else is supposed to go uncontained.
Lewis with 11 carries and 41 yards. Getting it going here late. The long route to the corner. It's caught. And he's down at the 1. That's Michael Gaines. Brought in on Wednesday. With the injuries at tight end, Robert Royal along with Steve Hyden out for today's game. And Gaines coming up with a big play late. And a hurry-up offense for the Browns. A timeout called by Green Bay. So the Browns are on the ball, ready to snap it.
Green Bay, their first timeout, a 30-second timeout.
Lewis
Stopped up in the backfield. Give the credit to A.J. Hawk.
Absolutely. A.J. Hawk, they've been asking him, we know you can do your job and a little more. And right there, A.J. Hawk, terrific job of getting into the backfield. You cause penetration, good things happen. Watch A.J. Hawk right here as he shoots the gap, gets in that backfield, and B.J. Raji gets in on the tackle. But A.J. Hawk, terrific play.
And the Browns with only one rushing touchdown coming into today's game. And that one is not by a running back. It's by the guy you're looking at right there, number 3, the quarterback, Derek Anderson, with a 2-yard run.
Going back to A.J. Hawk, I talked to Dom Capers, their defensive coordinator in Green Bay, and he said, John, it couldn't be further from the truth that we're disappointed with A.J. Hawk. They happen to have Brandon Chiller, who's been playing in their nickel package. You're seeing it throughout the league. A.J. Hawk's such a high pick that people want him on the field all the time. And Mike McCarthy, frankly, said we've got to do a better job of adjust the play clock. But Mike McCarthy said it's our job to get A.J. Hawk on the field more, and he keeps playing like that. He's going to earn that playing time.
The Packers loaded up at linebacker. first-round pick in Matthews, a first-round pick in A.J. Hawk, a first-round pick in Nick Barnett. And people want to know why they went to a 34.
Yeah, exactly. That's right where I was going. You know, Mike McCarthy said he went into this offseason with every intention of going to the 3-4, found his guy in Dom Capers. But why did they go to the 3-4? For a lot of reasons. Schematically, special teams, great athletes, the 255-pound athlete that Mike McCarthy talked about, but you have a plethora of linebackers as well.
That one intended for Massaquoi. And the Browns have to put it in here. 3rd and goal. Inside handoff. Lewis. Let's go back to that bump and run coverage, and you'll notice something interesting that Al Harris does here.
Watch the eyes of Al Harris. And bump and run, this is not how you would teach a young kid how to play bump and run. Your eyes should be on that receiver. An old vet has a young rookie. You see his eyes going in at the quarterback, turns his body to the quarterback. Al Harris, one of the great bump and run corners. Not perfect technique, but Al Harris is a master.
Not try that at home. That's only for experts. 4th and goal. They'll pass it in. Looking inside, incomplete. Intended for Massaquoi. The entire stadium is screaming interference. They won't get it. Turnover on downs. 8 men in the box. They're guessing run. They'll get a quick pass. And a run. Jennings. And Jennings, just like that, gives them plenty of breathing room.
And Aaron Rodgers is playing at an incredibly high level. The best thing they've done today is keep him upright. They've protected him. No sacks on the day.
And that's impressive because the Packers come into this game with 25 sacks, leading the NFL. And I thought Rodgers had an interesting little quip in regards to the Browns flu epidemic. He says, well, I didn't get a flu shot, so hopefully there are no sacks and I don't have to worry about it.
Well, they're making good. They're trying to keep their quarterback healthy from the flu and just keep his body healthy. It's too many sacks as it's been going, and today a great job. Chad Clifton out, the young rookie TJ Lang coming in at left tackle.
Pump and go, backside. And I think there you see not only the discipline, the maturation of Aaron Rodgers, but he told us in the offseason, and he's done it the past 2 off seasons, he's looked at every single snap, and that's hard to do. You sit in a room and you go through all the good ones, all the bad ones, and he thinks that's made the difference.
He's actually done that the last 4 seasons, and you remember, let's see, 2 of those seasons he wasn't even the quarterback.
That's
so
right,
he's watching every play
right.
of Brett Favre's and watching every single play. He said the most valuable thing he gained from that is studying defenses, understanding what defenses are doing. This guy is a pro's pro. He's got all the ability. Again, I think his skill set puts him as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And they keep this guy healthy. They continue to get this running game going, and they tighten up some of the details on the penalties. This is a team, in my mind, that can play with anybody in this football league.
His last 2 games statistically have been the best of his career. Said something interesting about being a leader. Said you can't be a leader until you have full respect of the team. It's not given. You got to prove it, and you prove it every day in every way.
And he earned it. He earned it in his first starting year. He earned it. He earns it on a day-in, day-out basis. In addition to being incredibly talented, this guy is a hard worker. Donald Driver said his work ethic is impeccable. And as Donald Driver mentioned, he has become the leader of this Packers football team.
That coming off the heels of Brett Favre. As we look at a 3rd down here, that is a monumental chore in Green Bay. He's got to not only prove it off the field, but obviously he's got to get on the field, prove it with his performance. 3rd down and 6. In trouble, out of the pocket, here he goes. Rodgers will try to go the distance, no. Second thought, he sits down, but gets it out to the Browns' 40-yard line, and a Packer 1st down. 19 yards on the pickup, a missed tackle there by Trusnick. And it's a big play.
And we talked about he hasn't been sacked. Look at him slide in that pocket, and then There's that mobility I've been talking about all day. And you know what I like most about him? He's having fun. Watch him here at the end. He's taking a page out of the old Packers quarterback, Brett Favre's book, and having some fun. That rubs off on your team. And he should be having fun because he's playing at an outstandingly high level.
Ryan Grant looking house. And he's knocked out inside the 5-yard line. Takes it down to the 3. 37 yards. And Ryan Grant goes over the 100-yard mark. 136 on the day.
Watch Ryan Grant. Good lead block by fullback Quinn Johnson. And then you better be able to tackle in space. That's plagued this Cleveland Browns defense all season long. You see Brodney Poole come up, and you know, I'm not sure that's a tackle in flag football. You have to tackle in this league, and you're going to go up against good backs like Ryan Grant, but you have to tackle, and unless the Browns start doing that, Eric Mangini, Rob Ryan, they can't do much as coaches.
Throw inside, and it's caught for a touchdown. That's James Jones with his second touchdown of the season. He beat Eric Wright. How about the confidence there in Aaron Rodgers? Look one way, flip back the other way, and it's an easy 6.
And confidence is exactly right. We sat down with Aaron Rodgers. He told us, I like our matchups against all of these guys. I'm not trying to be arrogant, just confident. We put in the work. He talked about James Jones. This is really their 5th wide receiver. He said, I like James Jones versus any one of their cornerbacks. And James Jones continues to earn that confidence from Aaron Rodgers, and these Packers are firing on all cylinders.
Jones battled a knee injury last year. That one going out of bounds. And it's not like the Browns have been able to do anything with the good field position. Maybe.
Kick out of bounds. The ball was replaced at the 40-yard line.
The Packers have not punted today. Backdoor throw, Poppinga. He's all over it. And I have no idea what Vickers is talking about when you're down 31-3. And a lot of work to be done for the Cleveland Browns. A team that's definitely in transition. New head coach in Mangini, new general manager. And a complete roster turnover. We talked about the amount of New York Jets that played under Mangini, now on this current roster. 2nd and 10. Lewis trying to get outside, gets outside, out of bounds. Barnett along with Bigby.
Ron, you talk about Eric Mangini and these Cleveland Browns. It's a big reclamation project that they have going right now, and it's not looking good. I mean, 31-3, it's tough to see the progress. They feel like it's being made. You know, I've dealt with Eric Mangini. He recruited me on a couple of occasions to come to New England when I left Tampa in 2004, and last year he tried to get me to come up to the New York Jets. He gets a bad rep. He's actually got an incredibly charming and a personality you really like to be around. Unfortunately, sometimes I think he worries about things that maybe aren't as important, you know, such as, you know, there's a story about him fining one of their players $1,700 for not paying for a $3 bottle of water.
Right.
You know, and you know, I understand saying this, guys, this is how we're going to do things and this is how we're going to be successful. But I think that other side that, you know, he called, you know, he texted me when he was trying to get me to come to the Jets, and I have a 10-year-old son, and he said, does Jake want BP with the Yankees or the Mets? And, you know, your girls would love American Girl doll. And he was just very persistent and incredibly charming. As I said, you kind of want to be around the guy, and I think that side of him needs to come out more. And then they've got to get some players, you know, but they've got 11 draft choices next year in the 2010 draft. They're stockpiling draft choices, and so this is going to take some time. And you know, the important thing, you've gotten rid of Braylon Edwards and you've gotten rid of Kellen Winslow. Instead, you've got draft choices. Well, you better hit on those draft choices.
Absolutely.
And that's as much as Eric Mangini and George Kokinis' job as anything. You better hit on these draft choices. I think ownership here will give him his time. I think he deserves it. But you better hit on these draft choices.
Kokinis taking over for Phil Savage, who was fired December 1st as the Browns GM. So that kind of talks about and completes the complete turnover here. And the new direction the franchise has to take. Matt Flynn checks in at quarterback now for the Green Bay Packers. Enough done by Aaron Rodgers, 15 of 20 for 246. 3 touches and complete control of the offense. John, were you surprised, as Grant gets the carry there, that Mike McCarthy told us last night the identity of this team really comes from the defense? And another reason that we decided to go toward the 3-4. We needed more energy, more electricity, more attitude on the field that we can all draw from.
I wasn't surprised because I think Mike McCarthy's a good football coach, and I believe in defense, setting the tempo for your team. This has always been known in Green Bay as an offensive club. And you look back to when they won their Super Bowl, Reggie White, right?
That's right.
That was defense.
Exactly. Oh, that's a good one there. The Steelers coming into today's game locked up at 4-2 with the Cincinnati Bengals. Ron Pitts, John Lynch winding down here in the game. The Packers have jumped all over the Cleveland Browns. No letdown game here. And as Donald Driver told us, why would we want to come in here with a letdown game when we've got a chance to knock off the division leader? And most importantly, go through that stressful week of practice. And that's what you do when you lose a game like this. Everybody's on edge going into a big game, like the Viking game will be next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And for this Viking game, again, the penalties today, I promise you, Mike McCarthy will harp on that. You see Josh Cribbs, who's always dangerous, looking to return the punt.
There's Cribbs. Runs into his own man.
You know, you talk to everybody as a big part of their game plan. You talk to Dom Capers, how are we going to stop the Wildcat? Where has that been?
Batted down, nearly intercepted on the rebound. Ryan Pickett. There's a look at what you're talking about, John.
And really, take away the returns. You know, offensively, I was calling for them 20 touches to Josh Cribbs. You've got 1 run out of the Wildcat and 1 pass. Now, some might say, well, he fumbled the 1 pass you threw to him. You didn't throw it to him till the 3rd quarter. That is inexcusable in my mind, whether that's Eric Mangini, Brian Daboll. You've got to get the ball to your best players, and they failed to do that today.
Second down and 10 run, that's Lewis. Hit Barnett. Barnett getting back into the mix. Missed the last half of last year with a torn knee ligament. Had reconstructive surgery. Finally cleared, not cleared until August 24th. Well, that's a long rehab, that's a long time. They wanted to make sure he was ready. But he steps back in, the perennial leading tackler for the Packers. And he's starting to get back into that form. I mean, he's running around looking like the Barnett of old, pre-injury.
Absolutely. He's leading them again in tackles. I talked to Dom Capers. He said, you're really starting to see the Nick Barnett that we know around here. The explosion's coming back. And he's been all over the field the last couple of weeks.
3rd down, ball is loose. Knocked out by Jenkins. Recovered by the Browns. That'll bring up 4th down. Jenkins coming into the game with 2 sacks and an interception last week against Detroit.
Look at Cullen Jenkins, a versatile player. He can play inside and he can play outside. Right now he's going up against the Pro Bowl left tackle in Joe Thomas. And Cullen Jenkins, Dom Capers pointed him out too. He said, John, I had no idea how good of a football player this guy is. He's a leader on this team. You're beating Joe Thomas, you're doing something real good because he's one of the great players for these Cleveland Browns. Impressive rush by Cullen Jenkins.
So no fair catch called. Williams goes backwards a couple. 1st and 10, Matt Flynn. He replaced Rodgers last series to keep Grant in the game. Matt Flynn, 7th round pick back in 2008 out of LSU. First real action of the year right here.
Some people, Ron, might say, why do you have Ryan Grant in? The score's 31-3 in the 4th quarter.
Right.
I think Mike McCarthy likes what's being established here today. There's a toughness that goes along with running the football on someone, and they're getting that done today.
Grant coming up on a season high. He picked up 8 on the carry previously. Grant approaching that career high as well as a season high. give Grant a break. Give the ball to Brandon Jackson. Yeah, he's thinking there. Obviously, there are other places I would rather have you be at 2 in the morning, 2 days before one of our games. But as he said, we have no curfew. We don't mandate anything like that. And I guess the good news is he was not severely injured in the accident.
Yeah, you know, and guys are going to have lives, but maybe 2 a.m. on a big week where you have a game, and you know, the good thing there was no drinking or anything involved. He just got in a car accident. But you would rather have your players in bed at 2 a.m.
So Jackson taking the brunt of the carries now, trucks a man and gets the first down. He put the wood on Brandon McDonald. Jackson coming into this game with no rushing statistics, getting some carries here late.
And I think that's a good move. I talked earlier how they still had Ryan Grant in, but at some point you do. Now maybe 31-3, it's okay to start looking forward to Minnesota as a head coach. As a team, you got to continue to play, but as a head coach and say, I've got to get Ryan Grant out of there. He tweaked his ankle a little bit. Let him get healthy and have everything in full cylinder, ready to go next week versus Minnesota.
Packers have had their bye. You know about the big one coming up against the Vikings. That's at home. Move to a late game.
I know one thing. You do have to be able to run the football when you want to run the football. And the Packers took a large step towards that today with the performance of Ryan Grant. And more importantly, probably this offensive line. They've lacked continuity on that offensive line. Today they're playing without their starting center. But they got that running game going today. They imposed their will on this Cleveland Browns defense. And that really bodes well for them as they go against another pretty good running back in Adrian Peterson there in Minnesota next week.
Mike McCarthy made a point to tell us last night, a lot of speculation that he put together the 3-4 defense to help stop Adrian Peterson. More perimeter speed, more linebacker speed on the field. He said, let me tell you what, I didn't think of number 28 one time when I put this scheme together. I put it together for this team's identity, our confidence, our energy, and we've seen all of that early here in the season. That is a 3-point game. Pittsburgh holding on 20-17 at the 2-minute warning. And that ball goes into the end zone for a touchback. 27 seconds left here in Cleveland. Definitely aren't 100%. And that will be the final here in Cleveland. The Green Bay Packers come into town, take care of business with big plays, explosive plays, score fast. And they'll get the win 31-3.